So we're back out again, guys. Wainwright number 4, Whin Rigg. Annoyingly, I've got all the way here. The Spezials, the Addy Spezials, which I love, but they're certainly not walking boots. I've forgotten hiking boots, which, all joking aside, I'm actually gutted about because I feel quite vulnerable and I think it's important to be wearing a good pair of walking shoes. So I want to say that from the off. I haven't got the Addies on because I want to look cool, even though they do look cool. I've just forgotten the hiking boots. With that being said, fortunately, a couple of coincidences. I'm here proper early so I can take my time, and I'm going to start using some walking poles just to save the knees a little bit. So at least I can take it slow, you know. So yeah, Whin Rigg, well excited for this one. I'm here for the grandeur, I can't speak French, of the Wastwater area. I love it. Probably the grandest area of the whole of England, to be fair, arguably. And it's going to be a nice contrast to my last Wainwright, which was Stone Arthur, which was wonderful. But yeah, that was probably a little bit more charming and, you know, a few towns nearby. Whereas here, I'm hoping, at least, I've never been up Whin Rigg, it's going to feel quite isolated and desolate, and it's going to be class for the photography. Conditions are spot on. Let's crack on. So we're just starting to ascend a little bit, guys, and we're getting the views. These are the views that I came here for, right down the throat of Wastwater, right back to the beautiful pyramid shape of Great Gable. This undoubtedly is my favourite place in the world. There's a lot of sentiment here because I'm from Cumbria, and I think it's just a stunning view in general. You know, I can't imagine that anyone would be stood here witnessing this and be underwhelmed. It is such a special place, and I haven't been here in ages. So we're starting to get these incredible views now. For anyone that knows Wastwater even a little bit, the fell that I'm going up is one of the ones, you know, them big reddy brown coloured screes on the opposite side of Wastwater from where you can drive and all that stuff. It's one of them, and I've never been up, and I've always wanted to go up these because, you know, I've always been on that other side looking up at them. But let me tell you this as well, guys, the conditions are absolutely perfect at this stage for sunset. Lots of thin, wispy high cloud. I'm feeling good. I think this is going to be a good one. Oh, it's so nice to be back in this area of the lakes, to be honest. As much as I do love, you know, the towns of the Central Lake District and the smaller fells, and I do, you know, in their own right, in a different way, this is where my heart is, this section of the Lake District National Park. Special stuff. So it's about to start getting a bit more difficult. Let's crack on.
I lose my breath whenever I see you.
So I've come, no word of a lie, about 30 steps since I last spoke to you, and I've just been seduced, as always, by something. And in this case, this vista, man, is unreal. It's got to be one of the best that I've seen in months. When I last spoke to you, I was umming and ahhing about whether or not I should get the camera out anyway, and then this little boathouse here just came into view. I didn't even know it was there. I was left with no choice. So I've got the 55-300 lens on, and I'm just taking a few shots at various focal lengths. But of course we're getting that kind of compression effect where we're bringing Great Gable and U-Barrow closer into the image, you know, and they're kind of rising up behind that tiny little boathouse, which is of course giving us some scale. Another thing that's class here, guys, just in front of the boathouse and some of the pine trees on that little peninsula, the water in Wastwater is dead still. So we're just getting the most incredible reflections down there. It looks quality. So still really bright, you know, quite harsh. So my settings, ISO 100 f8 and 320th of a second. That's pretty much the same for every single shot, and I'm focused on the boathouse for all of them. And that's about it. I'll probably add a little bit of dehaze in Lightroom because it is quite hazy, but not too much. I'll just keep it subtle. I want it to stay looking natural. Unreal, absolutely unreal. Tell you what a start. And this is what I love about doing the Wainwrights. This is early doors, guys. From here on, it's only going to get better in terms of the views and the light. Living the dream. So I'm just having a little bit of a break. It is amazing. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on the walk so far. So as opposed to some of the most recent fells that I've done, this one's kind of the other way around. It starts off really steep, and you can see behind me there, we're not far from the top now. It kind of plateaus the further you get to the peak of Whin Rigg, but oh, it is unreal all the same. One thing I've noticed is you do kind of lose the view down into Wasdale Valley and back to Wastwater, what you saw at the beginning, but I'm hoping we kind of gain that when we get to the top. What we have got though are these incredible like pastoral views out to the west, and then eventually the land just stops and you're looking out to the Irish Sea. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's very hazy today, which is a little bit of a shame because you kind of lose a lot of the vista on a clear day. Even a half clear day, like you definitely see the Isle of Man out there over the Irish Sea as well. It's astounding. Like, and I love this because this is so different from Stone Arthur, my last Wainwright. And I just love that. It's just one national park, but there's so many, it conjures up so many different emotions. Today, like I've been saying, is grand. This is epicness. This is as epic as it's going to get really in the national park. So yeah, not too far from the top. I am itching to get up there now to see what views await us. I'll tell you what, I'll meet yous up there. Ah, there we go. Wainwright number 4, Whin Rigg in the can. Beauty. The cairn hasn't changed much from Wainwright's sketches. I suppose they're not going to change much over half a century. It's just a pile of rocks. It's a beast. It is a beast. First thing I'll say is not the views just yet, but we don't actually, or I can't actually see Wastwater in the Wasdale Valley from here, so I need to kind of go a little bit further towards them screes that I was talking about at the start, and hopefully that'll open out, as I do want to shoot back down there. But all the big names are behind me, guys. We've got Scarfell Pike back in this direction somewhere, highest point of England, if anybody doesn't know that. Scarfell as well. These are all Wainwrights as well, by the way. This hill that you can see quite close to us is called Ilgill Head. So this is the first one that's a little bit kind of, a little bit of a tease, a little bit annoying, because that is a Wainwright, and it's, I mean, look at it, it looks like it's probably about 20 minutes away maximum, but this is the way that I want to do it, one at a time. Stunning views back down to Yew Barrow and Great Gable and Kirkfell again. Amazing. So I am very early. It's been a fairly easy hike on the trainers, so I'm quite lucky in that respect. An hour and 10 minutes till the sunset, which is wonderful. You know, I don't mind. There's no wind. The light's incredible. It's fairly mild as well. So I'm just going to wander around a little bit and get the camera out whenever I fancy. Sweet. So I've been mincing around a little bit. Bit of grass on the lens there. I've been mincing around a little bit, actually without the camera. Just looking for the big shot, you know, the big composition that I've got planned for down into Wastwater, back to Great Gable. The light's just starting to look really, really splendid. Looking back that way now, I'm buzzing. But I've got the composition set for over there. However, I'm looking back down here now. It'll look overexposed there, but I'll show you some B-roll. It looks, the light down there, guys, is really, really pleasant. Like, pleasant's the best word to describe it. The sun's come really low in the sky now and it's just still spilling down into this valley here. And I used the word earlier, pastoral. That was a word that Wainwright used to describe this section of the view, really, from Whin Rigg. And it is very pastoral, but I kind of wanted to get a photograph in ode to that, really, you know, that statement from Wainwright. Plus, the light down there, like I said, is really nice. So we've got the River Ert, which will be right down in the bottom right-hand side of your frame somewhere. And the light is just reflecting off that so nice. And that was part of the walk as well. And the two shots I'm going to get are going to be fairly abstract, really abstract actually. The first shot's in portrait, and we just got the River Ert that kind of leads off to the right-hand side of the frame, and then this kind of this road that leads off to the left-hand side. But they both kind of go like this, like a sort of U shape underneath all of that beautiful light in the fields, and the fields look really, really neat and tidy. It's all accentuated by the light. Loads of beautiful like prim stone walls. It's amazing. And then we've got this tarn over here in the background as well, dead still. So I've zoomed in on that in a landscape orientation, and again quite abstract, but what we're getting is the reflection of these trees that are on the far shore of that tiny little tarn, and they all look like little spiders as they're being reflected in the water. I may do that one as a monochrome, like a black and white. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, both very, very abstract. With regards to my settings, it is quite bright, so I'm having to be careful, but there's not too much of a dynamic range because I haven't got any sky in the photograph. F8, 1/250th of a second, so you can still you can see it's still quite bright, even though the light's getting. We're in the golden hour now, and ISO 100, of course. Sweet. So I hope you like these more abstracty shots, and now I'm going to get myself set up for the big boy. So the sunlight has just started to go behind like a bank of cloud, a strip of cloud on the horizon, as it so often does. I find myself saying that exact same thing all the time. Yeah, it looks like that might be the end of it. I've managed to catch the majority of the images that I was going for with that light. That's what I wanted, that side light here in the foreground on these rocks. And a little bit earlier on, just after I took those images I've just shown you there with the telephoto, we actually had a lot of light on the tips of the likes of Barrow and Great Gable, and Middle fell off in the background as well. So I'm really happy. Unfortunately, you're just not seeing it now with the amazing light. So apologies, but you're going to see the photographs. Really simple, and I can see myself going forward. I can see myself taking a lot of these sorts of images from up the top of fells, because I just think it's very natural to want to take an image where you've kind of got some sort of foreground interest complementing the big vista, you know. And really thinking about the foreground, it's something I say quite a lot. In this instance, I've got something really close to my wide angle lens, and it's got these little scratches on it. I don't know, is it too ridiculous to say that it's something from the Ice Age? It looks like, I don't know, I have no idea. I'm not going to get into it. Anybody? Let me know. But either way, for the photography, they lead out nicely into Wastwater, these little scratches here. On top of that, of course, this is a nice anchor, a nice holding point for the whole photograph, you know, a nice starting point in the bottom right hand third, and then whoosh, that's it then. It takes us out into that vista. So all this here, down here, is just to give the image a little bit of something. It gives it depth as well, because, you know, it gives it that sort of three-dimensional feel almost. You've got something in the foreground, then we're going to have the lake in the midground, Wastwater, and then the fells in the background. So a lot of depth, you know, a lot of different dimensions to the photograph. And yeah, it just means that we don't just take a random snapshot of the vista, which, and I will say this, that would still be lovely, you know, a phone shot from up here. I've made a lot of effort to get up here, you know, a big drive and then a fairly big hike. So this is my reward, you know. The photograph is always going to be nice, especially with that light. So nice and simple. What I will say is I took some one or two other shots from a little bit further up this little hill you can see here, only about 10 meters or so, and it's going to be quite similar, but I'd like to show you them both.
and they're both pretty much same ideas, you know, with the rock in the foreground. ISO 100, f8 and 1/30th of a second, in this instance at least, and I'm actually focus stacking as well, which I don't usually do unless I've got something really close to the lens, and that's, like I said, that's what I've got here. This rock is like, I mean, look at this, what are we talking here, about 50 centimetres, about half a metre from the front of the lens. So, this is the big boy. This is a shot that I envisaged or pre-visualised before I came up here. I think with a lot of the Wainwrights, I kind of know most of the areas in the Lake District, so I always have an idea of what I want to get, but not to the point where I'm putting too much pressure on myself to get it, if that makes sense. So, final 2 images of the day. It's probably going to be 2. I hope you like them. Oh, tell you what, Friday night, time we on? 8:15, 2 minutes till the sunset. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on this whole planet, in this whole universe. Even if someone said, "Oh mate, it's a free trip to Mars, go and do some landscape photography." No. Wasdale Valley, Wastwater, West Cumbria. This is it. Sun going down across the Irish Sea. This is the pinnacle. In fact, I should put the camera away now, hang it up, because it's not going to get any better than this. It probably will at some point. Love it. Absolutely love this spot. So I might, sun's going down in 2 minutes like I said, it's looking like it's going to be a nice little blue hour, so I might just stick around for 10 or 15 minutes and take some telephoto shots. Looking back towards Kirk Fell and Newbarrow in particular, they're looking really nice. With some of these crags down here look really cool, I think, as well. If I do, I'll pop them up and show you, but I want to sit here and enjoy the sunset in my native Cumbria. This is, the sun is going down now, behind Sellafield, the nuclear power station. Unreal. Oh my goodness. How special to be on the side of a mountain witnessing that. Thank yous for sharing these adventures with me, and a huge thank you for your support. I appreciate it like you could never imagine, because it's yous. I always say this, but I love repeating it because it's so true and I'm so grateful. It's yous that allow me to be doing this right now. So special. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps out my content here on YouTube. And I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.